Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, sweet Jesus. Oh, yeah.
All right, man. When officers arrive to search a room in a hotel, the horrifying truth that has been concealed under the mattress all along will leave them stunned.
Somebody did something. I mean, she's always up here making a fool of herself. That's all I know.
Is it a white male, black male, Hispanic?
It's a white guy.
White guy?
But then you see white guys, you see black guys, you see
Mexican
guys.
Undeniably, there's guys
So
that
those
Come
guys
to
coming
see
in and
her
out.
all the time.
undeniably.
Show me your hands. Come out now. Come on out. Walk to me now.
But as officers dig deeper, darker truths start to surface, making the entire case even more chilling.
And describe that. What happened?
Well, I pushed her off of me and I got the knife and just stabbed her.
On August 28, 2022, a 911 call comes in to Manatee County Dispatch in Bradenton, Florida. On the line, a young housekeeper from America's Best Value Inn who's traumatized by the horror she's just witnessed in room number 217. When she finds bloody bedsheets lying under the bed, it instantly sends her into a panic, prompting her to call for help. Minutes after the call, first responders are dispatched to the scene. But soon they realize that the reality is far worse than the housekeeper's panicked account.
217?
217.
Oh, man. I did that.
As officers recover the bedsheet from beneath the bed, they receive the fright of their lives. Inside lies the dead body of a young woman, viciously stabbed and wrapped tightly in sheets and towels. Clearly, a sight that no one was ever meant to witness.
Might as well get out of there.
All right, guys, watch your step. Don't touch anything. Might try to clean up this bleach in there.
10-4.
All that stuff, somebody tried to do some serious cleaning.
Yeah. I mean, nobody wraps someone up like that underneath the bed and they just died naturally.
No.
It doesn't take long for the officers to realize that they're standing in a crime scene. With that, they swiftly secure the area and call in the investigative team to take over.
So are you guys taking over from the crime scene?
We're just taking a whole report, but what you need if you want
Okay,
to
no.
Is everybody in 216?
I knocked, nobody answered.
No one answered at this point.
I don't know if anyone's in there or not. The only thing I did, fire brought up the box spring. The mattress was the way it was when we arrived. The only thing that was down was the box spring, and fire lifted it up when the maid pointed that she was under the bed.
With the victim lying unidentified on the floor and the killer on the run, investigators know they need to act fast. They decide to first check the security cameras inside the motel lobby, hoping to find a lead. But their hopes die quickly as they realize they've hit their first dead end.
Oh, they're all unplugged.
How come all of them are unplugged?
Yeah, that one's unplugged. The one down there is unplugged.
Everyone? All of them are. All of them.
With zero leads panning out so far, officers turn their attention to the neighbors of room number 217, wondering if someone on that floor might have seen or heard something.
Somebody did something. I mean, she's always up here making a fool of herself. That's all I know.
Was she with anybody?
Older always sits outside of her door.
Okay.
So,
Did you guys see her with anybody else yesterday, or
I didn't see her with anybody.
nobody? And you didn't
she's
hear
always just with that one young boy.
one young boy? Do you know his name? You know what he looks like?
Skin right there. I don't know.
Blonde hair, black hair, brown, white male.
I really don't know. Other people tell me. I just I don't want to be my drama, so I don't care.
All I know is it's some young dude.
Is it a white male, black male, Hispanic?
It's a white guy.
White guy?
But then you see white guys, you see black guys, you see Mexican
Yeah.
guys.
Undeniably, there's guys
So
that
there's
Come
guys
to
coming
see
in and
her
out.
all the time.
Undeniably, there's guys
Because I'm constantly telling them, mind your
She's
own
always
business,
with
stay
is a
away
white
from
guy.
these
Like,
people.
Okay.
on a consistent basis.
Do you remember how tall he is roughly?
5'8", 5'9", probably.
5'8", 5'9"? So basically it's pretty much always a ruckus over here.
Yeah.
I talked to the neighbors next door. They say it's constant in and out of drug addicts.
Okay.
But she's normally with some white guy who's about 5'8", 5'9". So that's about all they can tell me.
Don't know her name?
I haven't even.
No, did the people know her name?
I don't think so. They just know she was here saying they're all geeked out on drugs, constantly falling down the stairs.
Nobody can identify the victim, but bits and pieces of information emerge. She had a drug habit, a reality that might have exposed her to someone dangerous. This might also possibly involve the same guy neighbors keep mentioning. With no name to work with, officers check the motel records for room number 217. Soon, they find what they're looking for.
Said they've been staying for a month. Hey, Sergeant Jones, you still have the paperwork when she checked in? What time? When did she check in? The 21st.
It turns out that the room is booked under the name of 26-year-old Jennifer Pergelzi, the same woman whose body has been recovered from under the bed. But the records give them more than just her identity. They also reveal that Jennifer's 24-year-old boyfriend, Stephen Joseph Cozens, had been staying with her for the past week.
Walking past subway around 11:30, black male, wearing red shorts. But they said he always goes down to the lobby every morning or every other morning for coffee. Okay. So if we don't have him on video here, if they have a video camera in there, we might take him up on one of those cameras.
Further investigation into Stephen's law enforcement history reveals that he already has a record of several petty offenses, including theft and other minor crimes, something that can't be overlooked. Moreover, no one has seen him since the discovery of the body, immediately putting him under suspicion. With that in mind, investigators waste no time and start canvassing the area. Just then, a woman comes forward and provides them with a major breakthrough.
The lady who says you're in this area right now says that.
Yeah, I'm just going to push up a little bit.
I just talked to him 5 minutes ago. He's over there by the big shop.
Well, the best thing to do is fucking get out in plain sight and put your hands up.
As officers search the area, one of them arrives near Stephen's car, knowing he cannot disappear properly without his vehicle.
Hey, this is where he's gonna be in here. He's gonna be in here, guarantee it.
And within a minute, a small trail picked up by the search dog changes everything, pulling officers into a dense bush.
Show me your hands, bro. Show me your hands. Come out now. Come on out. Walk to me now. Walk up. He's sitting right here. Make sure you got your hands in view. Hey.
No, come here. Right to me.
Hey.
The man stepping out is none other than Jennifer's boyfriend, Stephen, miserably failing to stay out of everyone's sight. But that alone doesn't make him a killer. To uncover the truth behind the murder, officers arrest him and take him in for further questioning. But this interrogation is going to reveal far more than they're prepared for.
Who is the person that you murdered? Okay.
Without flinching, Stephen admits to killing his girlfriend. However, investigators need more than just that. They want to know his deadly motive behind Jennifer's killing.
We want to hear your version of what happened.
Me and her were arguing because she says that I was cheating on her with invisible women.
Okay.
Great, I'm sorry. And she tried to stab me.
Okay. Let me see what you got there. No, don't take them off. That's what that is?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll look at them later. That's fine. And where did this happen at?
In the hotel.
Okay. Is that the America's Best Value Inn? And that's over there by McDonald's and Starbucks and all that?
Yeah.
Waffle House. Okay. And when did this happen? This was
like early, evening.
Okay, so this is Sunday. So early evening yesterday, Saturday. If you had to get sun still up or down, do you you remember? Still light outside. Okay. So before, say, 8:30 p.m.? Okay. Do you roughly know what time? 7-ish? Okay. So obviously, you and Jennifer, you're at the hotel, right? You're in the room. And what are you doing when this starts?
She was getting home.
Okay. Okay. And you were doing what?
Laying in bed.
You were laying in bed. Okay. And is she in the same bed with you? Okay. And there are 2 beds in the room? Okay. One closest to the door or the one closest to the bathroom?
Closest to the bathroom.
Okay. So you're laying in bed, she's laying in bed, and she starts in with this invisible people, you're having an affair. Okay. And then what happens?
She tries to attack me because she's tired of me being a scumbag.
Okay.
And I defended myself.
Okay.
As Stephen continues to answer the questions without any hesitation, officers ask him how exactly he killed his girlfriend. What he reveals next is completely unhinged.
Describe that. What happened?
Well, I pushed her off of me and I got the knife and just stabbed her.
What kind of knife? Like a fixed blade or one that you flip open? Flip open. Can you describe it? So it's not that's the whole knife or is that the blade?
That's the whole knife.
That's what color? Black.
How many times do you think you stabbed her? You recall? A lot.
Okay. Do you remember where you stabbed her? I know you said a lot. In the neck? Okay. Okay. So what's going on in this moment? Okay. So you've disarmed her. She's tried to stab you. You've disarmed her. She is. You now have the knife. Okay. And are we on the bed still? You're on the floor. Where at?
In between the beds.
In between the beds. Okay. And you're on top of her at this point?
Yeah.
Okay. When you woke up Saturday morning, did you plan on killing Jennifer? Okay. Have you guys fought before? Okay. And is Jennifer a physical person? Go handsy with you? Okay. And what about you with her previously? Have you guys had, not that this matters, but have you guys had
Confrontation before.
Okay, physical?
Domestics.
Right. That's.
In the past, yeah, so that's an only one thing.
How long were you two together?
2 years.
Stephen confesses to stabbing her relentlessly for minutes, makes the investigators' blood run cold. But his insanity doesn't stop here. After ruthlessly killing his girlfriend, he decides to take a light shower and go for a casual walk. Only a few minutes later does he return to deal with what he has done.
So you went back to the room. Were you still alone? Okay. And then what'd you do?
Tried to cover it up.
Okay. Describe to me. So you tried to cover it up. What does that mean? Okay. All right. And what did you do?
He used the towels, the wipe the floors, and everything. Took the bed sheets and wrapped her.
Okay.
And then I stuffed her under the bed.
Okay. And you did that?
One closest to the door.
Right. And you did that by yourself? Okay.
The cleaning job was done so precisely that the police's search almost revealed nothing, leaving officers with no solid evidence to build a case. That's when officers begin questioning him about the bleach found near the bed, but his answer is not what they're expecting.
And did you use a cleaner? No. So we found a bottle of Fabuloso in there.
That's from the cleaning ladies.
They're saying it's not theirs.
It's not mine.
Okay. All right, then. I'll believe you. And was it Tide?
Tide, yeah, there's Tide.
Was that yours?
Water too.
That was your, yeah. Okay, so you didn't use anything to try to clean up. You just water and towels. Did you use any clothing? Did you throw any clothing out when you were done? Because the room looks vacant, right? So did you have clothing in there and Jennifer had clothing in there?
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously you took your stuff with you. But where's your clothing?
In the woods.
Okay.
So the stuff, let me ask you, so the stuff that you had on, is it in the woods?
No, I threw that away.
You threw it, where did you throw it at?
In the dumpster.
That's in the dumpster right at the hotel? Okay, so, alright. So the dumpster at the hotel, that's the camouflage pants.
And so when you walk out of the room and down the stairs, like looking towards Waffle House, is that the dumpster? Okay.
With that, Stephen also reveals dumping Jennifer's personal belongings in the trash, including the shoes she was wearing on the evening of the murder. Having said that, officers still haven't heard about the whereabouts of the murder weapon, the one thing that can directly seal his fate.
Where did the knife come from?
I had it for.
You've had it for a while?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you remember what you do with the knife?
Threw it in the lake.
Threw the knife in the lake? Okay. Which lake?
By Sonny's?
Behind the hotel.
But the one Sonny's and all.
The one in the circle.
Okay.
Okay.
And whereabouts in the lake, you know? Where were you standing when you tossed it? Do you remember?
I threw it out the back window.
Oh, no. That lake that close to the...
Yeah.
Oh, I had no idea. Okay.
So you can throw the right out the your window.
You know, now that I think about it, yeah, I think you can. It's not a big window, but it's big enough to throw something out of.
This much space, and I just like that.
Did you hear it at the water?
I watched it.
With an unsettling calm, Stephen casually demonstrates how he threw the knife away. But it is nothing compared to the way he describes his girlfriend's last harrowing moments.
Why did you think she was dead?
So much blood.
Right. Was she talking at any point afterwards? No. Not moving? Making any sounds? Nothing. Gurgling. Right. Okay. And I appreciate your honesty. I would expect you to say that.
It is clear to the officers that Stephen doesn't fully grasp the severity of the crime he's involved in. At this point, they pivot and start probing him about his drug use as well as Jennifer's addiction.
So what's your story, man? I gotta know, because you're a pretty slim guy. You got a problem with drugs? Okay, how long? Most of your life? Because you were a pretty big dude. One time you looked husky. Big. You know, and you were in the Bridges program.
That's over in Orlando?
Ocala.
That's Phoenix House.
Phoenix House, okay. Were you high at the time? Was she? Okay, what was she high on?
Crack.
Is that her drug of choice? She was smoking crack, but fentanyl was her thing?
Fentanyl, Xanax.
Okay. Why'd you wrap her in a sheet?
It is here that Stephen completely breaks down, the reality finally sinking in that the walls are closing in on him forever. Nevertheless, officers did not buy his story of defending himself after she attacked him. For that, they continue to push him, and Stephen is about to crack completely.
Obviously, there was a fight. Okay, there was a disagreement. There was an argument. There was a something. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me that she got out of the bed, went to retrieve your knife, and came back and tried to attack you. And I'm just telling you, I'm not seeing the evidence that that's the way it went down. It feels to me like there was a fight, something did happen, and you snapped. Am I right or wrong? I'm right? Okay. Okay. Did she get handsy with you? Or was she just like a chihuahua, just barking and nipping, and you just had enough? And you got up and grabbed the knife? Okay. Because you were done. And the injury on your hand slid down the blade, didn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
See, let me open your hand for a minute. These are blade marks. Yours from slab inside. Because I've seen those two are pretty deep. What hand are you? You right? Okay, you right-handed.
Stephen, did you ever think to call law enforcement? And there's no right or wrong answer. No. You couldn't undo it. Would you if you could?
Yeah.
Watching him crumble, officers begin to suspect this wasn't a premeditated act. Stephen probably lost control in a moment of blind rage.
Let me ask you. Have you ever been that, I'm going to call it like in a rage. Have you ever been in that place before where you were that angry? How often?
A lot.
A lot. So what made this time different? Was there more to it? Like to the fight? Because I'm looking at some of her past, like she's a working girl, right? Was there some disagreement over that? No.
To iron out the final details, officers confront him with the fact that Jennifer was a sex worker, a detail that might have possibly triggered an argument leading to a deadly confrontation.
I imagine her prostituting isn't an ideal situation, but how does that set with you?
I don't like it.
But you both had a habit, and that was the quickest way to defeat it. So it must have been a real like yin and yang kind of thing in your head, I'm guessing. You know, like you understand this is how things are, but you don't have to like how things are. Yeah.
Let me ask you this honestly. Did that send you over the edge? No?
Okay. So nothing happened in that regard. This was just, she was just on your ass and wouldn't let up. Every day. Yeah, like a chihuahua, you know, like a barking dog nipping at you. You know? I understand.
In the end, it turns out that none of it was the reason behind her death. According to Stephen, it was her constant nagging about trust issues that became unbearable to him, forcing him to take such a violent step. With all this, officers now have a direct confession from Stephen admitting to Jennifer's murder. And it is only a matter of seconds before everything concludes.
So listen, man, here's the deal, okay? Obviously, you're going to get charged with murder, okay? It's going to be second-degree murder, okay? It's not first degree. Okay? We do the whodunit part, and the rest is out of our hands.
Ultimately, Stephen is arrested, but never faces a full trial. On December 19th, 2024, he accepts a plea deal and is sentenced to 60 years behind bars.